So I see that we've got a few people already logged in, Desiree and Debbie and Cindy and Caroline. And so we're going to give it a few more minutes for everybody else to log in. But if you can do me a favor and raise your hand or drop a little message in the chat, make sure that you see the big wide screen that says Level Up Your Marketing. And that lets me know that you guys are seeing the presentation to get started with, because we've got tons of great graphics and things. All right, so Sydney says we're just seeing it. Awesome, thank you, really appreciate that. And so what we're gonna do through this webinar is we're going to go ahead and go through the slides. I am going to teach you some things that you can do to literally level up your email marketing. I'm going to teach you about the tools with Constant Contact. I'm going to get into a little information on that because it really goes a lot farther than just email marketing. Email marketing is just one piece of your pie, of your digital marketing pie. So we're going to go through all of that. And then at the end, I'm going to do a Q&A. So if there are any points in time where there's something that's just super burning you and you can't wait to ask the question, raise your hand and I will have you go ahead and I'll turn on your audio and have you ask. But otherwise, we have so much to get through. So I'm going to just kind of go through the slides and then we'll do the Q&A at the end if you can save your questions for then. So I'm super excited to get started. I'm going to take a little sip of water because my throat's a little froggy this morning. We'll give another minute or two for people to sign in and then we'll jump into things. Yes, so also I wanted to let you know that after the session, I am going to send you this recording. We are recording. So I will send you this. So, take notes, but if I go kind of quickly through something, you're going to get that recording so you can watch that again later. And I'm also going to send you a great PDF worksheet based on this presentation of things that you can do step by step, things that you can do to send great emails and increase your business. So, without further ado, I'm going to start moving forward with things and hopefully we'll have a few more people join us. But if not, I'm super excited for those of you that are here to start with us. So let's get going. So the big question is, why email marketing? I think it is one of the things that so many people kind of put to the side, and it's really a super important tool in your digital marketing toolbox. So many people focus on social media alone or their website alone. And the thing is, you don't necessarily have control of what those people do after they visit your social media, after you visit your website. So you want to give them a reason to engage with you, to say, hey, I really like what it is you have, what you sell, what you're doing, what your service, your product is, and I want to give you my email address. And the reason why we want to do that is because email marketing has 3 times the conversion rate as social media in respect to having people take an action. Because the sad fact is, and it's hard to admit it, but this is not the sad fact, this is the good thing. For every dollar spent on email marketing, there is a $44.25 ROI, return on investment. So it actually has a super high return on your investment, email marketing. You put some effort in, spend a little bit of money, and you're going to get some great return. Why? Because people have given you their email address and they've already qualified themselves as hot leads or people that are interested in what you have. The other really important reason that email is great is people read it. 91% of people check their email daily. I mean, let's face it, I check mine every morning. It's the first thing I do. I feed my pets, I make my coffee, I sit down, and on my phone, I check my email. I bet you do too. And 88% of people check their email regularly. I am checking it all the time on my phone. In fact, I had meant to turn my phone ringer off, and we're going to do that right now so that I don't hear those notifications. So, people are checking their email all the time on smartphones. So email, you're going to get in front of more people because they're checking it. It's also reliable. Email gets delivered 90+% of the time, meaning you send it to me, 90% of the time I'm going to get it. 10% of the time, there may be a filter that puts it into spam or junk mail. Gmail is notorious for doing things like that because they're very good at security and they want to make sure everything's relevant. There's things that we can do and tricks that over time you'll learn that we can increase that so that we make sure people get what we send. But the great thing is that 90% of the time, people get that email in the inbox. And this is the bad thing that we don't always want to admit. With Facebook and Instagram, they are publicly traded companies, meaning that even though you might have a free business page, it's not really free. They want you to pay for advertising. They want you to pay to boost posts. Only 2% of your fans on Facebook are going to see what you put up there through organic reach, meaning you're not paying for it. And on Instagram, that's only 3%. So you have to pay to be seen. And that is a really small margin of things. So it's another reason why it's just really important to harness that power that you have in your inbox. So we're going to go through some things today to teach you how to do that. And here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about 6 lessons that we learned in 2020 from the pandemic that can apply to 2021 and going forward. We're going to talk about harnessing the power of your inbox because it is powerful. I'm going to show you some real world examples of some small organizations, including my own, and how they utilize email marketing campaigns successfully. I'm going to show you some of the trends and actions that you can take with your email. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about me to start off with. So my name is Cindy Clearwater. I am a digital entrepreneur. I live on the gorgeous island of St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I have been here for 20 years. I moved here back in 2001 as vice president of a startup travel company. 9/11 kind of threw our plans off kilter, but I fell in love with the island and the island life, and I stayed here. I ran a very successful destination wedding business for many years after that travel company closed down, and I decided to stay on the island. But with the information and the knowledge and the experience that I had with that previous company, I took charge of my own marketing, and I was very successful at it. I taught myself how to design websites. I'd been involved in the development of websites with my job before I moved here, and I'd been involved with database and marketing systems. So I had the knowledge, but I taught a lot of it to myself. I did some graphic design training in 2007 with one of the top 3 graphic design businesses and digital marketing businesses in Massachusetts, came back to the island, and I have been helping social entrepreneurs and small businesses with their digital marketing efforts for over 10 years now, as well as marketing my own business. So when I tell you I know what I'm doing, I really do, because I've done it, I've put it into practice, and I want to help you learn how to do some of these things as well. I'm also a Constant Contact certified provider, and that means that every year that I take a test, I also get information about Constant Contact as a system before everybody else, and they test market some things with us. So I've been involved with Constant Contact now for, I think, about 13 years. However, this presentation is going to talk a lot about the tools and systems that we have in Constant Contact, but I promise that you can use another system. We like to say, don't monkey around with your email. If you're using the competitor, they do have a great freemium service, but I will warn you, if you're doing things successfully, you're going to outgrow that. And when it comes to competitive pricing, Constant Contact is a lot better. But you can still use a lot of the tips and tricks that I'm going to show you in this presentation, no matter what system you're using, Aweber, MailChimp, Constant Contact, whatnot. But I am going to send you, if you haven't already gotten it, a free 30-day trial of Constant Contact. And I'm going to tell you about something really exciting at the end that I have starting on Monday. Okay, so 2020 was the year of the pandemic, as we all know. Organizations that pivoted to a digital marketing strategy have not only been able to survive, but they have been thriving. Personally, I was crazy busy through the pandemic because so many of my one-on-one clients who I had been encouraging to push forward their digital marketing over the years, they hadn't. And then all of a sudden, everybody at the same time wanted to pivot. So I was crazy busy. But what it taught us is that we don't have time to waste in really being sure that we have a digital presence. And that really includes especially brick and mortar stores, restaurants, and whatnot. We had to get that information out there. We had to make sure that customers and clients knew what was going on, what changes were happening. And these are the 6 lessons. The 6 lessons that we learned. Don't be afraid to try something new. So if you've not tried email marketing yet, and you've not integrated email marketing into your digital marketing plans, social media and whatnot, don't be afraid to try it. Try it. Get started. Start somewhere. One of my very favorite quotes, if you've been to my Instagram, is start before you're ready. Marie Forleo says this. Start off, try it out. Nothing, especially in the digital world, everything you can try again. You can delete it, you can perfect it. So don't be afraid to try something new. Stay in touch and be at the top of mind of your customers. Be consistent with your messaging. Make sure that you're expressing to them, especially from the pandemic, changes in your hours. If you have changes in your hours, changes in your opening schedule, changes in your procedures, new services, make sure you're regularly communicating those with your client base. And do more business online, whether that's social media, email marketing, on your website. Make sure your website is up to date. It is a great time during the summer, if you're a little slower or whatever season you find that you're a little slower, to take a day to do a website audit. Meaning go to your website, go through all of your contact information, check all of that, check your links, make sure that everything is up to date, correct, your hours, your locations, up to date and proper. And then go through with your Google Places, your social media, check those too. Make sure those touch points where people can find you are up to date. And that will help you alone to do more business online. And really important, and this is where email marketing and growing your list comes in, collect and take action on customer data. Make sure that you are asking for people that are interested in what you're doing to drop their email. It's the only way you have to be sure that you get back in touch with them. Again, just simply liking your Facebook page, only 2% of those people who do that are going to see what you post unless you're paying for it and using some, more sophisticated marketing technologies. So just simply asking people to give you their email address is really important. And I'm going to show you some ways to do that. And build your brand with storytelling. Listen, in the pandemic, we all said it. We're all in this together. Literally, the entire world was in this together. And so telling a story of how you overcame something, how you shifted or pivoted, what services you used to help your friends or neighbors. These are all stories that you can tell, stories about maybe how your employees took the time to learn new skills, take a class. These are all really important things that you can share and that people that are interested in your business or service really want to know. And lastly, prepare for uncertainty. All of those things that we said, like my clients who I had been telling for years to get that digital presence going, all of a sudden, they didn't know what they were doing. So make sure that, again, you go back to all of your touch points in the digital world and make sure that everything is streamlined and correct. Your information is correct there. Okay, so some of the things that you can do, some of the actions that you can take to stay at the top of mind of your customers is to reach people where they are. think about your customer and don't just look at it from a perspective of what you're doing. Think about where your customers are. Know your customer. Who's your ideal client? Where are they hanging out? If you are selling the hottest, latest sneakers, probably a lot of your client base is going to be on TikTok. Facebook tends to be more a Gen X, a Gen Z place. So if you have something that really appeals to teens, you're going to want to be on the hottest, newest thing. But if you have something that appeals, a business or a service that appeals to maybe the corporate world, you're going to want to put a little more oomph into LinkedIn. That's where you want to capture your emails. That's where you want to capture attention, but then grab those emails so that you can stay in contact. Update those channels more frequently than you think. Make it a regular thing to do those audits and watch your stats. This is where email in your inbox becomes super powerful. You can actually utilize that to see what people are reacting to and responding to if you're doing things in the right way. And we're going to talk about that. Okay, so here is a customer from Constant Contact that actually did the things, right? So the energy bar, they were keeping in touch with their clients throughout the pandemic, every step of the way. The owner, Julia, and her team, they started to offer virtual classes and on-demand classes, as a lot of businesses did, especially exercise businesses and whatnot. And because there was this pivot, with the emails they had already collected from previous clients, they were able to automatically update them on these changes. So this is really important information to get out to the people who are working directly with your business. Okay, again, to go back to storytelling. Storytelling is so important. And those stories that you tell on social media can be repurposed into an email to your clients so that you can make sure that what you cast a wider net on who sees what you're doing, and make sure that you're keeping those things real. I mean, think about the things that you have been engaged with, the businesses that you have been engaged with. Likely they told a story that resonated with you about maybe a way that they helped their community or their employees. So think about the stories that are important and look at other businesses. There's a really great book that it's really short that I read a while ago called Steal Like an Artist. You know, it's not really stealing, but it's being inspired. You know, be inspired by other businesses that are doing it right. If you see something that's really well done, you can model it. Okay, so first impressions really matter with these stories and that information that you want to get to people. So how do we make sure that you're doing the right things and that you are effective? So what type of emails will you send is really important. Are you going to send an email through Gmail to your clients that looks like the one on the left, which is kind of dry and bland, and there's a lot of text in there and people don't read a lot of text? Let me tell you, we know this from social media. We know this from a lot of studies. Short little bursts of information because we're inundated with information all the time. Or you can send an email like the one on the right, like Southside Cycling. It's got a nice image in there. It grabs your attention. It has a short little message, and then it has a great call to action at the bottom, what we call a CTA, shop now. So this email on the right, by looking at it in about 2 to 3 seconds, I know what they want me to do. And then if it's interesting to me, I'm going to go and I'm going to read that paragraph. The one on the left, I might just save that for later, scroll by it, and then forget about it. Okay, why regular emails like that one don't work? Now, if you're just sending, you can see in this email at the top there, you can see all the emails that it was sent to. This is like a super faux pas. I see it done a lot. But when you do that, first of all, you are exposing all those other people's emails to each other. And so you're actually violating a lot of laws doing that, a lot of digital marketing laws. So that's something that you really do want to keep in mind. Even if you BCC it coming from your Gmail or your Outlook or whatever email program that you're using, if you have a lot of people in that BCC, CC lines, whatnot, it is automatically going to get spammed. Through filters, it's going to get linked as spam. You also don't have a ton of formatting control over emails like this. And if we want to stay within brand, we want to be catchy, we want to have some of that formatting control. And the other thing too, like I was saying before, as far as tracking data, with this, if you just send it from your Gmail, you don't know if somebody opened it or not. You have no way to track these things, and tracking is really important. Data is important. So Constant Contact automatically offers a lot of templates that you can customize. These are some great examples of Constant Contact clients, users, how they have used these and sent these emails. If you use a great template, it helps to reinforce your brand identity. There are great ways within the system that you can keep your brand colors and easily make sure that you're using the same theme across all your digital platforms. You can manage subscriptions. You can have people sign up for different lists. You can ensure that that email got delivered. And if it didn't, you can investigate why. There's a lot of different reasons why somebody may not have gotten that email, and you'll have the ability to track that. You can also track results. You can see who opened it, when they opened it, what links they clicked on, so many things. And again, as I mentioned, it obeys the law. There are laws out there like the CAN spam laws. There are the laws regarding things in Europe, why you see all these privacy policies pop up. So depending on who you're sending to and where they physically are, for example, the European laws aren't related to whether or not somebody lives in Europe. I might be in Europe on vacation and get an email from you, and if it violates those laws, I actually could come after your company. It doesn't happen often, but by using a system like Constant Contact, they're going to make sure that they're sending emails that obey the CAN spam laws, the European laws, and all that. So it's kind of like a little lawyer in your back pocket. So growing your list is the most important thing, right? Because when we start off, we can have a beautiful email, but if I have nobody to send it to, it doesn't make much difference. So we want to make sure that we are growing the list. And yes, you do have to ask in order to grow your list. So how to ask and the importance of permission, which goes back to some of these laws. You want to get express consent, whether you are online or in person. You want to know that it is okay to send this. You want to be straightforward, and you want to make sure that people know that they can opt out. And you also want to respect their privacy. The worst thing that you can do is continue to send somebody emails who's not interested in you. I often say, I'm really happy when I get opt-outs, when people decide to leave my list, because I know that they're not interested anymore. And with Constant Contact, you're charged based on the number of your contacts. So I want active people who are actively interested in what I'm doing to be on my list. People who just aren't interested anymore, but maybe just keep deleting the emails and haven't taken the time to opt out. I have ways that I can find that out, and I can remove them, and they can opt back in at any later date when I send them something. And again, legally compliant. So there are 3 categories of list growth, 3 ways that you can grow your email list, capture those emails: on print, in person, or online. So let's talk about that. Some of the ways that you can grow your email list in print, especially if you have a brick and mortar, is signage. You can put a sign up. There's actually a great little sign that you can create right from within Constant Contact, where you can actually have text to sign up. So it's they give you a unique number, and you decide on your own keyword. So for instance, I've set mine up, and my keyword is just CLM. So I have the number. I can have a sign that says, I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry, but for example, if my number is 4382, text CLM to 4382, and then it will send back a message saying, do you want to sign up? If so, put in your email address. And when the person puts in their email address, it automatically goes onto the list that I designate. You can put a sign like that up right in your store. You can put a link on your business cards. You can create lead pages where nothing on there but there's nothing on there but sign up information and what list somebody wants to be on. You can put that little link there. Want to stay in touch? Go here. Use a bit.ly to make it a smaller link. Or flyers, brochures, mailing, same things. You can put a link to a landing page where you capture emails. You can put it on your homepage. We'll get to that. But signage is a great thing. You can also do it in person. A lot of times we go to a store and, especially in the States with the big box stores, they'll often ask for your email address at checkout. You have the ability to say you're not interested, but if it's a store you really love and you're dying to find out when the next sale is, you're going to give them your email. So when making a purchase, you can instruct your salespeople to ask for an email address, or you could even just have a regular paper right next to the register where they could write yours down. So, and also at events, obviously, if somebody's coming to an event that you've done, they're expressing interest in what you do. So that is an excellent place to capture emails. I personally still love to have a text to sign up at the events because it prevents bottlenecking from people writing things down. And also it tends to prevent people writing and you not being able to decipher what they wrote, which happens often. Okay, and then we have the last way, which is online. So on your website, you can drop in little pieces of code from Constant Contact at the bottom of your website in your footer. Sign up here for great new deals. You can have a pop-up window, which is really popular and very effective. Or you can have a landing page. You can then send that link. You can make a nice post on your social media with a link to that landing page for signups. In your emails, in your personal emails and business emails, you can have a link in your email signature and during online purchases. There are, I'll show you some e-commerce things that we use. For example, I use WooCommerce to sell products online through my St. Croix, in my travel guide for St. Croix, and I have integrated the WooCommerce plugin to my Constant Contact. So I actually capture emails when people are check out. I know who is a new client or a new customer. I know my repeat customers, they're on a special list. And it also has the opportunity to send out an email to people who might have put things in their cart, but then abandoned it. And I send out a special little discount to try to entice them to actually go through with that sale. So online is a great place to capture email. I mentioned before too, the power of data. So this is an example here of a landing page, a sign up landing page. And what's really great about this is that the Saluna Garden Farm, they created this sign up list, and they've created what we call segmented lists, so that I, as a consumer, when I go here, not only am I going to give you my email address and my first name, because making emails personal, dear Cindy, is really important. I can find out, where did you hear about us? But then on those email lists, I now, as the client, have the opportunity to tell the garden farm, I'm really interested only in fresh herbs. I want to receive everything you mail, or maybe I only want to get emails about the organic herb and spice blends and fresh flowers. Right here, they have segmented what I'm interested in so that they can then send me targeted emails. When they have a great sale on fresh flowers only, you're going to have a much more effective campaign if you're sending information to people who have said, I want it. The biggest problem I find with people that use email marketing is that they just send everything to everyone all the time. You're going to get people who opt out when you do that. So by segmenting and finding out what people are really interested in, you're going to keep them engaged. You're going to send them really good content that's only marketed to what they're interested in, and they're going to stay with you. These reports also help you make decisions. If everybody who came to this landing page only said they're interested in fresh flowers, well, that gives the business some really good information that maybe they're not marketing their fresh herbs the right way, or they're not that great. They might want to now put more of their business money, their capital, into developing the fresh flowers or figuring out why herbs aren't selling. So you can actually glean some really good information from this. And not every customer is the same. Again, one might want flowers, one might want herbs, one might want teas. We'll find out. And like I said, it helps you to deliver relevant experience and relevant messaging. So we want to also look at why people subscribe to your email list. Simply asking somebody from an email for their email address may not be enough, especially if they're brand new and they don't really know what you do yet. Maybe they want to try something out. So if you encourage them to sign up and receive a special discount, that is a great incentive. I might want to try what you have, but I'm kind of on the fence. But you're going to give me a 15% discount if I sign up to your email list. Awesome. I'll sign up for now. I can always opt out later. To show support. You might have donors, people that are interested in your nonprofit. So you want to capture their emails. These are people who are interested in supporting what you do. It might even be just friends and family that want to support your business. And then also people that want to receive exclusive content. So there might be content that you have that you only send to your super subscribers, people that open your emails all the time, or maybe it's stuff that you only send through email. You tease it on social media, but you're only going to get the really good and juicy stuff from me through an email. So you want to make sure you're using some of the different ways to get people to subscribe. You want to entice them. Another great thing, if we go back to the last slide, is to receive exclusive content is white papers, how-to sheets, short PDFs, one-page PDFs on how to do something. You all are coming to this webinar because I have something to give you. I've gotten your emails because you're interested in what I do. You all can opt out at any point in time if you want to. So I now have the responsibility of making sure I'm giving you some good content here today, and then I'm following it up with good content. And I hope you stay on my email list because of that. Okay. The other thing too is to put your readers' interests ahead of your own. Again, it's moving into that headspace of acting like the client and thinking about what does the client want? What is their need? What is their pain point? As opposed to what do you want them to do? So you want to start crafting your messaging from the aspect of how you can solve their problem. And you want that problem to be relevant. If I've signed up for your list and I'm interested in your fresh flowers, I don't necessarily want to now just get information about your car or donating to your favorite charity. While I might later on, it's not everything that I want to receive. I want to get more information about fresh flowers. So we want to keep things relevant. It's sometimes a balance to figure out how much is enough. I mean, we don't want to be sending people emails every single day unless they've opted in for that. So you want a balance of how often to touch point with people. I think having a monthly schedule of things that you just update with a great story, something that happened in your business, a great tip or whatnot is a wonderful thing to do on a regular basis. And then implement, at times if you need to change hours, if there's really important information to get out to your customers, then you can fill that in at different times. You also want to turn questions into content. I mean, that's really gold. If you have clients who are asking you the same things over and over and over and over again, and you're spending all your time answering that, turn that into an automated email series. Give people the opportunity to opt in for something, and then you drip out emails over a certain amount of time with answers to those questions, or have them sign up and just send out a list of frequently asked questions and answers. So there are ways that you can automate things so that you save your time. And remember that images are content too. Visuals are really important. So again, when we say write for your audience, not for you, it's because 33% of people will unsubscribe if you are sending them boring content. Try not to send things that are too dry. Again, solve a pain point, use some humor, use something that's really heartwarming. Actually think about what's going to engage your audience. And 32% of people will mark it as spam, and you don't want that to happen. It's okay if it happens from time to time, but you don't want a high spam reporting because you will get shut down for that. So you want to make sure that that content is relevant. If I've signed up for a list, for example, I have a weekly calendar of St. Croix events that goes out every Friday. And only people who have opted into that list, or people who are my information providers, my musicians and venues, they're the only ones that get that. nobody else who signed up for my list gets that weekly email because they would spam me for that because they're not interested. So I'm able to have just relevant content going to the people who have opted in for that email. Be relevant. We talked about this again. This is Camp Unleashed. And here's a great example of answering those questions. Here are some common mistakes likely developed by them for people who have asked common questions over and over again. These are things that they may have dealt with and mistakes that they see that they have to correct in their grooming studio. So I talked about how much is enough. So when you're crafting your email, we like to go by the power of 3. 3 is a really like amazing number if you're into numerology and all that. I kind of am. But really, you see 3s a lot. And that's because our brain tends to see and be able to deal with things in 3s: small, medium, large, expensive, mid-price, cheap. So 3 is really powerful. So you want to keep your content, if you're going to send a lot of information in one email, try to keep it to 3 articles, 3 images or less, and no more than 3 calls to action. If you can pare it down to 1 call to action, buy now or something like that, that's even better. Now, keep in mind, this is just a rule of thumb. This is not the end all be all. In my weekly St. Croix calendar email, I have links to every single event. Not everybody clicks on every event, but I have them there because if somebody's really interested in getting the directions to a particular event, they're going to click on that. So that it's important to know that this is a rule of thumb when you're just starting to craft things out, but there's always exceptions to every rule. But when I said, keep that call to action, what is it you want me to do when I get this email? If you're sending a newsletter, do you want me to read an article? You don't want to put the entire article in that email. People are not going to read it. You want to have a nice read more link there. Or are you doing a sale? Do you want me to buy something? Whatever your call to action is, whatever those links are, the better you can reduce the number, the higher your click-through rate is going to be, which we can see through here in this graph. So if there's only 1 call to action, you have a higher click-through rate. Come to my event, register for my event, buy this on sale product, make a donation. 1 click, you're going to get a much higher click-through rate than if you have 5 or more. So we want to use what you've got. Again, those questions that we talked about. Here are some questions from businesses. Whoops, looks like this didn't come through. So we want, maybe you have somebody who's a plumber in the Northeast and they want to make sure something doesn't burst this winter, your pipes. So somebody is asking you, how do I keep my pipes from bursting? I'm having this problem. It happened last year. My pipes burst. People in Dallas lived through that. So you can create a post or an article on your website, how to prevent that from happening. If you're a tax person, can I deduct the mileage I drive for volunteering? So you might have an article on the top 3 mileage deduction questions. How do I get more people to attend my events? 10 ways to increase event attendance. So think about, again, use these questions that your clients and customers have asked you to develop your social media posts, articles on your website, and your email marketing. And remember that images are content too. People process things visually, 90% of the information. So you want to have an image that conveys your message properly, something that's in brand, something that looks good. Stock imagery is available in so many places like Canva, PicMonkey, Adobe Stock. Or if you are a great photographer, you can use your own images. Again, in my St. Croix weekly calendar, at the very top of every email, I have an image that I've taken on St. Croix. I put in a little message, maybe about what I've been doing this week or what's happening on the island or something important people need to know about travel changes. So I connect with my subscribers on a personal level, and they email me back. Let me tell you, they email me back information. They thank me for things. It's wonderful. It is a back and forth but I always started off with a great image because it catches the eye. Now, there's some important things to know about images when you work with them. You want to make sure you're using the right size images. If you use something super small that you grabbed from the internet from somebody else's website, you can be you can have copyright issues, sorry. So again, it's good to use stock imagery or your own photos. You want to make sure you know that you have permission to use that, and you want to make sure that the size is a good size so that the image is clear. There's nothing that looks less professional than a really grainy, yucky photo that's sent. So you want to make sure you have photos that pop. Use your own photos, find stock images, and make those images clickable. People know from social media and other places that if they hover over something that they probably can click on it. So if that image, you can turn that image into a call to action. When I have a call to action button, I usually make the image clickable to that same link. And you want to keep all the action above the scroll, which is in newspaper speak, we called it above the fold, where you fold that old style newspaper, everything above that. So everything above the bottom of your screen, when somebody opens that email, you want everything at the top because not everybody's going to scroll down. So make sure you keep the really relevant information, the real key action towards the top. And again, limit the choices, use the rule of threes. This is a great example of branding. You want to make sure that your email, your website, and your social media all have the same look and feel. Using things like Canva or PicMonkey can help you achieve that. If you don't have a brand identity, you can even find little tutorials in both of those things that will help you achieve that. So use that same messaging across your channels. You're going to reach more people. And you want to look really good when you're in the inbox, because then people are going to scroll through and they're going to read your emails. Another great thing about Constant Contact is their emails are optimized for mobile because so many people read your emails on mobile. So this is real important information. And I'm going to start flipping through here because there's so much to get through, and I do want to have some time to be able to answer some of your questions. So here we've got some great examples of emails that are recognizable. So these are branded to these, each of these businesses have branded their email so it's readily visible who they are. They've got their logo at the top, which is so important. And these are 3 different ideas of emails that you can send throughout the month. Another great thing about Constant Contact is you could send 10 emails a day, every day. It doesn't matter. They don't charge you based on the number of emails that are sent out. They only charge you on the number of contacts in your list. And if somebody unsubscribes and you from your list, they are not counted in your count. That is another key difference between Constant Contact and MailChimp. MailChimp will actually multiply your contacts times the number of emails sent, and they charge you in that manner. And when people unsubscribe, they don't necessarily take them out of your count. So that's a really important distinction. But here, here's some ideas of things that you can send. You can send newsletters. It's great to send newsletters because even if you have updated this information throughout the month on your social media, people might have forgotten what happened at the beginning of the month. They might not have seen it because they weren't the 2% that it ended up in their news feed and you didn't boost a promotion. So it's a great way to collect all the important things happening with your business, your offerings, your sales, everything, and put them together once a month and send out a brief newsletter. There doesn't have to be a ton of stuff in there. There could even be just one thing. There's another Constant Contact provider who sends out a monthly newsletter called One Thing, and he only includes one thing in it. So, you know, there's definitely creative, fun things that you can do. Of course, announcements, changes to your hours, if you have new products, if you want to invite somebody to a special event that you're holding, and asking for feedback. Constant Contact also has a built-in survey option. If you upgrade to the professional level, that's really great. You can drop it right in there. But even if you don't do that, they actually have a great little drag and drop feature. So if you have an event coming up, people right in that email can say, yes, no, maybe they're coming. So that's a great thing. And it will actually capture that email so you can get a count of people for a more casual event. And then of course, promotions, periodically, if you have promotions, these are things that you want to make sure you're sending only to your targeted lists, or you're not sending every day. So you want to make sure, especially with promotions, that you're super intentional about how you're sending, what you're sending, and who you're sending it to. And so here's a little simple recipe for success for crafting a really great email. And this is, I'm going to be sending you a wonderful PDF that gives you some of this so that you can go through these steps and make sure you're doing that. So simple recipes for success, a single 1-column template. This is going to be more mobile friendly. Again, keep to that rule of 3. Caroline, I see you've got a question, and if you can hold that to the end, do so, but if not, flash your hand again if it's really relevant, you want to ask it right now. Raise your hand again.
No, sorry, that was an error.
Oh, okay, no worries, no worries. If anybody does have a question, going through that's burning and can't wait to the end, please do feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so with you want to stick with fewer than 3 images so that people don't get too overrun in their inbox and miss your messaging. Keep it down to 20 lines of text. Again, people have super crazy short attention spans these days, so you want to really be brief and concise with your messaging. You don't want to do more than 3 to 5 links if possible, and keep the most important messaging, like the really important CTA, the number 1, got to do it. Keep that at the very top of your email so that more people see it. You want to recognize the sender. So that means when you get an email from me, there's a line that I can put in so you don't just see that it comes from hello@cindyleemedia.com, but it says Cindy Lee Media. You'll see that in your email preview. So it's really important. I want to let you know this is coming from me, not some random person. So it's really important to be intentional in your sender line. Subject lines are super important. You want to keep that compelling, and Constant Contact has a new feature that's really cool. Once you draft your email, there's a little button you can click and it will give you suggestions. If your subject is too long or too short, it's going to give you a few things that you can do to tweak it. They use AI, artificial intelligence, in a lot of it, and it's actually really nifty. But again, sometimes I take exception to their suggestions. So you know best, but it's a great thing to go by. Good timing. It will also, if you don't have to craft your email and send it right away. I'm a huge fan of batching content, whether it be for social media or emails. When I have my mind focused on something, I want to work on that project. I want to get everything scheduled so I can get it out. So if you're going to pre-schedule your sends, it will actually suggest to you times that the system knows is a good time to send something. You might also look in your social media insights to see when are people more engaged with your page. You can send, and I'm going to show you real quick in our some of the other features, but you can actually schedule social media posts to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter directly through Constant Contact, which is a really awesome feature. And you want to use social options. Sorry, I clicked a little ahead. Meaning at the bottom, you want at the bottom of every email to have links to your social media where people can be more engaged with you on a daily basis. So how do people know you best? We talked about this a little bit, where you want to make your from name and your from email recognizable. From Cindy Lee Media. Again, we talked about this before. First impressions really matter. More than a third of people open an email based on the subject line. And that's why subject lines are so important. You can Google writing a subject line. There are so many sources out there to give you ideas on great subject lines. It's important. It's that first impression. And then, is it worth reading? You want to make sure in that subject line that you're really purposeful, and if you can be clever, or you're getting really relevant information on there. Emails like Constant Contact have not just the subject line, but then a pre-header. So I love this Half Moon Yoga Studio. If you look at the top of theirs, they have in their pre-header, aspire to higher ground, join us for this mountain retreat. Let's see. But if you look closely at this email, their subject line was acro yoga at 11,000 feet. You in? I mean, I would click that just to be like, what? What are they talking about? You know, so be clever, entice people, think of something that's fun and funky, or just something that you know is super important, you know, information about a tax deadline, whatever it is that you do. You want to keep it short. Excuse me a moment here. And this is in relation to your subject lines. You have a 30 to 40 character max limit, which is about 6 to 10 words. And you have control of that pre-header text. So you'll see the subject when you open up, I use Outlook, I see the subject line, and then I see that first line. I can actually control what that first line of text is that I see. So again, if we look over here at the Half Moon Yoga in the left, the subject line was acro yoga at 10,000 feet, you in, and then the pre-header was aspire to higher ground, join us. So just in my little preview in my Outlook, I can see what this is about and decide if I'm going to open it and get more information. Whoops. All right. So it's also important in your subject lines that you know what not to do, because that will affect your spam rates, whether you land in somebody's spam boxes or whatnot. So you want to avoid in those subject lines the word free. That's a big ding, 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 ding to spam filters. Act now, fast, guaranteed, advertisement, don't use all, don't use all the things. I'm going to give you all the things, that word all. And don't use excessive punctuation or symbols, tons of exclamation points. I'm a bad user of exclamations, but it's important because those are things that spam filters tend to pick up. So you can Google avoid spam, but also the tools in Constant Contact, when you craft your message, they're going to give you suggestions. There's actually a little spam check button that you can click where it will, make check for you, and avoid all capital letters. Now, these are all the things to avoid, but one of the things that I will tell you is really great to include is emojis. Not too many of them, 1 or 2 in a subject line, because it actually helps your subject line stand out, because it adds a visual. If you are working in Constant Contact from your desktop, if you're crafting things from your desktop, it's harder to find an emoji, right? They actually have them right there in the subject line. I also use Emojipedia. If you Google that, Emojipedia, there's a great site. You can actually search for emojis and you can copy and paste them right from there. But Constant Contact does have the ability right in the subject line. They will give you the option to put in some emojis. Also, you'll see a place where you can add in somebody's first name into the subject line, which is always good to personalize things. The other thing we talked about is social media buttons. They increase your click-through rates. So if you have your Instagram at the bottom, a nice little, just the little icon, there's lots of different options on how you can stylize those, but it actually helps your click-through rates, because if I get some information from you and it was really great information, really valuable, I'm going to then go look at your social media pages because I want to see what you're sharing there on the daily. And we want to use metrics. Know what metrics matter. Use your data to make decisions and focus on click-through. I'm going to show you how that works. So you want to know who's opening your emails. You want to know when they're opening the emails, and industry averages for open rates are 8 to 28%. And you will actually see graphs in Constant Contact that let you know sort of where your open rate is compared to others. And then you can shift your messaging over time. based on that. Here's a real world example of reviewing stats using that St. Croix weekly calendar that I mentioned to you. So this is what I see when I log into my account. I actually had to send a correction email, and I'm using this one because I got a higher open rate on the correction than I did on the original send. I had forgot to update some dates. So it shows my subject line, my pre-header, who it was sent from. So this is who people know. They know it's coming from me, when it was sent, the from address, and you could actually change the reply address. So, you know, your replies might go to somebody specific on your team if you want that to happen. It shows me what lists I sent it to, and then it actually creates an automatic email link that I can share on social media. So somebody might not be on my current email list, but I can share this email through social media, and at the very top, there'll be a join link. It's another great way to capture people. But then I can dive in a little bit further on the reporting, and I can see that email performance. I can see all of the different things. I can see the mobile open performance rate as opposed to the desktop open performance rate. One thing I will mention to you is that your real world open rates are probably even a little higher, because the way the systems, all email systems, know whether or not you really opened it is if you view those images. So if you're using an email client, often Google, that says, you know, do you really want to download these images? And then you click on that, then that tells the system it opened. If somebody's scrolling through certain email clients and they don't open those emails, they might still read just the text. So it's also important to make sure you have text in your emails, not just images. So this is a lot of the performance information that we can see. Clicks are really important. It lets me know that people are interested in what I'm sending. They're either going to my social media or they're following my call to action. They're a way for me to measure the success of that email, to identify who is really engaged in what I'm offering. And again, the industry averages are about 5 to 18%. This is another great reporting tool, again, from that email example. I love the heat map. So it is another thing. It shows me those pink circles, show me exactly where people were clicking. Whoops. Oh, I think I accidentally moved that. If I click on those pink, they actually show them as size-wise. So I know more people are clicking on that St. Croix calendar link than clicked on the logo in the header there. And if I were to click on that, it would actually show me how many people clicked there. So I can scroll through the whole email and see that people actually clicked closer to the top, but there were some clicks. So I can sort of see what is interesting people and what do I really want to do. Another really awesome tool that you can use when people take that action and click is what we call list segmentation. So for example, if I was offering a discount code for a t-shirt launch, I could then create a list that simply said interested in t-shirt launch, and I can, just from them taking that click, they automatically go on to that segmented list. I can create that right in the email, or I can choose a list that I already have. So this is really important because now I've taken everybody who actually clicked, I've thrown them on a list. And then if I wanted to create a sales funnel, I could then I could set up an automation where anybody who clicked that link, I'm automatically in 3 days going to send them an email that reminds them about this pre-sale or whatnot. So list segmentation can actually be a part of your sales funnel. Do not opens are also really important in evaluating the success of your email marketing. They allow you to re-engage with your audience. You can, why didn't they open it? Why, maybe I was sending to people who weren't interested. So you can start to look at testing things, sending some A/B tests, 2 different versions, splitting up the do not opens, send one version to half, another version to the other half to see what might engage them. So you can, use some experimentation in your marketing. And again, I mentioned this before, I really love unsubscribes, because if you're not interested in my content anymore, that's okay. That is okay. You got what you needed and now you're moving on. Listen, we're inundated with emails and messaging all day, every day. So I want people who are really engaged with what I'm doing, who are interested, to stay. And if you unsubscribe, you can always come back later on. Bounces are also really important, bounce reports. So you will find that when you send an email, you might get bounces. It might be because somebody had a vacation reply that will come through as a bounce. That's when you don't have to really worry about. Sometimes, and this has happened to me a lot, in the bounce, I'll notice somebody signed up for, gmail.com instead of Gmail. And I can go in, I can click on that contact and see, or they didn't spell Yahoo, they spell Yahoo. So I can go in and I can actually fix that, things that are really obviously noticeable. So there's a lot of good things. And then also sometimes it might just, I can open up that contact, I can see if they've never opened one of my email and realize it's just not a good email address, and I can delete it. So this sort of, making your decisions based on low metrics. If you're getting really low open rates and low click rates, then you want to start to evaluate why. And you want to look at some of those key points that we talked about before, things that you can do to make things compelling. You want to make sure your from line is really recognizable. They know who this information is coming from. Check your subject lines. Test some different things out, test the time of day, make sure your call to action is strong, and make sure everything is short and concise. And again, that you're sending to targeted lists. Please don't send every email every time to everybody that's ever signed up to your lists. Now, when you're making decisions based on high metrics, yay, we've got a lot of opens. That's when you can really start to analyze your marketing and look at the people who didn't click versus the people who did, and start to experiment with things and see what's working. It's always great to look and see what is working. And again, on the high clicks, segment those super clickers, people who are always engaged. There is actually a way to run a report in Constant Contact and find who are the people who are always clicking. Those are my highly engaged people. I really want to send them a special offer. So putting it all together, here is what an ideal email looks like. Subject line, keep it short, include your business name in the from line. We want to make sure we have a fun pre-header text that gets them to open and read more. Have your logo at the top. Have your logo something recognizable at the top. They know it's from you. Keep in your brand. Don't get so excited about the really great templates we have and just send a different template every time with crazy colors. Keep in your branding. Otherwise, people are not going to really start to recognize that it's you. And also look at the readability. Send yourself a preview. Be careful about using too many colors in the background and colors that don't contrast. Communicate with them. Make sure you're keeping your messaging to 3 or fewer. Remember that less is more, little short bites of information, and use that CTA to send them to a place where they can learn more information. Emails are great teasers, and include that clear call to action, minimize the number of links, and then don't forget to include your social media buttons at the bottom. Those are super important. Again, I mentioned before, some of the other great tools that are part of your Constant Contact toolbox is the ability to share to your social accounts. You can actually even check the inbox of your social accounts right there from within Constant Contact. The way, if you use Hootsuite, it's similar to that. So you can stay right in Constant Contact and be controlling your social media and your email marketing all at the same time. And check your analytics as well. Share to social is a great thing. Here is just a quick little screenshot of how easy it is. I can share to the social pages. And what I really love about this share to social is if I choose to share to my Facebook page, the same post to my Facebook page, my Instagram, and my LinkedIn, it will actually allow me to create 3 different variations. So in the Facebook post, I'm going to tag a partner maybe. but I'm not going to put a ton of hashtags in my Facebook post. But then in that same Instagram post, I can add the hashtags. And then in LinkedIn, because that's more corporate B2B, I might use some different hashtags. So it's actually in that one place going to allow me to create one post that I can customize for properly for each different platform. That saves me a ton of time. And then I can check my insights right in Constant Contact as well. So it's much more than just email marketing. So here's an example. You can also create ads from within, Facebook ads and Instagram ads, which is awesome. Again, keeping you right in here, working on things. This is also great if you are like me and you fall down rabbit holes because you go onto your Facebook business page to start sharing something, and then you see, oh, my friend shared this, and oh, that business did this, and oh, wow, that image is really good. I am the biggest culprit of ooh, shiny and getting distracted. So I can actually keep myself on point, on task by staying right in here and working my social media ads and whatnot. Is there also a great way to create lookalike ads? So it can actually, you can create a lookalike list from your Constant Contact email list. So you can actually target an ad to people who aren't already on your list, but have a lot of the same demographics and feelings as people who are on your list. Creepy, but also really very effective. So this just shows an ad that I ran for the St. Croix calendar. And these were the performance metrics afterwards, because metrics are really important in deciding, you know, how much did it cost for me to do this? And you can see I only spent $10 and I actually got great flow through at 17 cents per click. That's a nice ROI for me to get new people on my list. The other thing I mentioned is that you can integrate your e-commerce into WooCommerce, and using WooCommerce, Etsy, eBay, Shopify. If you use Shopify, you can actually automatically capture emails without having to do anything. This is just a great example from my WooCommerce backend to show you. These are all the lists that it automatically creates when somebody has gone to my site and they have recently bought something within the past 30 days. I know who they are. I can create an automation list. Again, like I mentioned, repeat customers, those repeat customers, I might send them a special sale or a preview sale of something because I know they're really interested buyers. So this is for e-commerce. This is really key and great information to have. So just to wrap up here, because I know we're a little over time, I have so much to share, and thank you for your patience and being with me. Constant Contact has all your digital marketing, all your online marketing needs in one place. It's a great tool, but again, you don't have to only use this just because I say it's a great tool. If you're using something else that already really works great for you, just use some of these tips and tools that I've shared with you. So I do want to mention before we jump into the Q&A really quickly, I am going to be following up with all of you with an email. I am going to be launching on Monday a 30-day email bootcamp. I'm super excited about this. It is 30, if you sign up, you're going to get an email every day because you've opted in for that. Every day, I'm going to send a short lesson on how to level up your email marketing within your Constant Contact system or translating that to others. So for example, I'm going to send you on day one, maybe tips and tools on how to craft a really awesome subject line. And I'm going to link to it, some of the tutorials, great tutorials in Constant Contact. I'm also going to be sending you some tutorials that I've created, PDF worksheets. But my goal is that every day that you get an email, you should be able to accomplish this task for yourself, for your business in 15 to 30 minutes so that you do it. And so if you do that over the course of 30 days, you're going to have a killer digital marketing campaign going for whatever it is to grow your business, grow your lists. You're going to see some actionable, real results from that. Now, if I were going to launch this normally and charge what I charge with my clients, this would be well worth over $600. but I'm actually selling the email marketing bootcamp because it's my first. I'm very excited. It's my first class like this that I'm launching. So it's only $57. But for those of you that have signed up for my webinar, you are going to get a special code. So look for this in your email to get it for only $37. You're also going to get a code that I'm going to send you for Constant Contact for 30% off for 3 months. So it's probably about going to pay for it. If you have a very small list and you're just starting out, you can join Constant Contact 30 days for first 30 days for free. Limited to 100 contacts and I think it's 10 emails. If you then upgrade, you can get up to 500 contacts, unlimited emails for $20. And then if you want more functionality, there's some higher levels that you can go to. But it's really very affordable, but I'm also going to give you a discount code for 30% off for the next 3 months after your 30-day trial. So this is going to pay for itself. So I really hope you are interested, and I'm going to send you some more information on that boot camp. Now, that being said, I know this was a ton of information. I'm going to send you that replay. I'm going to send you that worksheet. But does anybody have any questions, any burning questions based on the webinar? Anything I can answer, help you out with, pain points? Let me know. Raise your hand or just unmute yourself. I'm not seeing that anybody has any questions.
Hi, Cindy.
Yes. Hi, Caroline.
Hi. I had a quick question. I posted it in the chat. When you were talking about the do not use list, things that you shouldn't use, I just want to clarify the items that you had listed. Was that just for the subject line or was that for like the entire body of the email?
That is a great question. So that's really related to the subject line and that pre-header line. You know, it's like if you've heard the term clickbait, a lot of email filters are looking for that clickbaity kind of a headline and they're just filtering it out. I mean, my spam filter, I have it because I get so many emails. It really pulls in more than I want sometimes. So I check it on the daily. But that's what they're looking for. It's that subject line and that pre-header. So feel free, you know, to say I've got free content or whatnot. You can use those terms within the body of your email for sure.
Thank you.
And thank you. Now I'm looking through the chat here. DL, I do offer consultation. I do work one-on-one with clients. If anybody is interested in working one-on-one, whether it's setting up a website or setting up your social media, I do have different levels that I will actually do it for you and get you started. So feel free to reply to the emails that I send. You can reach me there. And I would be happy to work with any of you or talk a little bit more about what you need. Which email platform do you recommend? Obviously, I recommend for sending things out, I recommend Constant Contact. There are a lot of them out there. I have tried over the years. I've been with Constant Contact for 13 years and have watched it develop into an amazing platform that offers so much. I've tried others, but I stick with this because it's fantastic. Is it necessary to have a blog? It is not, but it definitely helps. It depends on what you want to do. So if you want to drive more traffic to your website because you're selling things, having a blog type area is great, but it doesn't, there's lots of different ways to use that. We could do a whole other class on that, and that, you know, these questions are also leading me into some other webinars I might do. But, you know, for example, one of my clients, Plus in Healthcare, we set up a news feed. It is technically a blog, but it's where we share news about the practice. And by writing thoughtful articles in that section and keeping in mind keywords that are relevant to the practice and your business, you are going to actually increase your Google rates because you're going to show up for those keywords because you have relevant content. At the end of the day, no matter what platform you're on, I really like to emphasize this to clients. No matter what platform you're on, don't try to trick the system or game the system. Make sure that all the content that you provide to people comes from your heart, that you're doing it because it's going to be helpful. people want your product or your service because you are doing something that helps them. So make sure you serve up your content in the same manner. Let's see. I see Caroline's content. Have I ever tried eye contact? I have not tried eye contact myself. I can look a little bit into it. And Caroline, if you're interested in some side-by-side comparisons, I do have in my arsenal, being a constant contact provider, I do have some compare and contrasts for Constant Contact versus other email providers and things like Aweber, MailChimp, and whatnot. Hey, listen, like I said, if something works for you, it's okay to stick with it and just translate some of these tips into that. Anybody else have any other questions? No? Well, I want to thank everybody today for joining me. It has been such a pleasure to share this time with you. And I hope that you learned something. Again, keep an eye out for the follow-up recording and the PDF worksheet. And hopefully some of you might be interested in my email bootcamp. Here is where you can find me, Cindy Lee Media on Facebook. And I've just shifted my branding over to my new Instagram account where I will be sharing a lot of really great stuff. So be sure to follow me, especially over on my Instagram, but also follow me on Facebook because I share content there as well. So thank you everybody for joining and have a fabulous day.